वंदेहम श्रीगुरो श्रीयुता पदकमलम श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति-वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी अष्टदशतारिणे एषा पुष्पांजलि तले भक्ति-वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी अष्टदशतारिणे एषा पुष्पांजलि भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति-वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी अष्टदशतारिणे एषा पुष्पांजलि Shri Srimad Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti.We Swami Prabhupada. Iskcon founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajatacharya Ashtottara Shadu Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Jayom Nitya-Lila Pravishta Srila Gaur Kishordar Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jayom Nitya-Lila Pravishta Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Jayom Nitya-Lila Pravishta Ashtottara Shadu Srila Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Shri Shri Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhakta Das Raghunath Sarvaswami Prabhupada ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Govinda. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna
So the program, we're doing very good. We had Avisheck. This morning we offered the Vyasa Puja book to Srila Prabhupada. This is the collection of all the offerings from our GBC members, our sannyasis, our Iskcon centers, and also some of the other projects in Iskcon. They make one offering. This has been a standard since 1971, 70. I think back before people would write individual offerings, but they were just a few devotees. So we're fortunate in Atlanta, we have some very old, we have a collection of the books. You can look through them and see the movement growing. And you can see in some years, there's not even Mayapur is not mentioned, none of those places are there. Gradually Mayapur, 10 devotees, 20 or 50 devotees next year. And they used to have devotees would sign their names. And they got so big, no more names. It's kind of Atlanta. So we're at that stage now. It's kind of Atlanta. It's mentioned that way. What we'll do continually, we're going to have the Vyasa Puja offerings from the Prabhupada disciples. After that, His Grace Kirti Prabhu and His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj. They will make their offering by speaking to us about the significance of Vyasa Puja and, of course, some remembrances of Srila Prabhupada. And then we'll have, after that, Pushpanjali and Guru Puja, and then finally the evening arti. So all this is targeting up to 7:30, but anybody have to work tomorrow? Good, so we can go a little longer, as long as the nectar is there, right? So we'll begin, we'll read the offering from Atlanta, Iskcon Atlanta. I wrote it this year. I wrote this when I was in Mayapur. It was, to say last minute, but we had to get it submitted on time. We try to have every year a different Prabhupada disciple to make it offering on behalf of all the devotees. We try to capture the mood of the devotees in the temple, what it is we're trying to accomplish, because as Prabhupada says, what does love mean? Is it just saying, I love you, I love you? No, it shows in action. So real love, for Prabhupada means we want to push forward His mission and His purposes. Yes? And we are in Atlanta, right? So we have a very unique mission for Prabhupada. And we all should take responsibility for it. You should feel that responsibility. That for my purpose in life is to better this Atlanta project for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. Now you become transcendental. And you chant Hare Krishna in the process also to give us a purification so that we can do that. So we all come together this time to reaffirm that. This is Krishna consciousness. Krishna says, if one says he's my devotee, what does Krishna say? Is he Krishna's devotee if he says I'm Krishna's devotee? Or he says, one who says he's the devotee, my devotee? He's my devotee. So that's how you experience Krishna. As we know, of course, anyone can do greater service than Prabhupada. So let us assist him. Right? So many tasks to do. Can anyone serve Radha better than Krishna? So let us make a perfection for the Radha and Krishna's affairs. Nikunjayu narati devi sidayu. Yayayu biru tira beksani. Tatatri dakshan ativalabasra. Vande garosha charanaravi. You offer respects to the Guru because he's doing that. He's trying to perfect the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. How? What can I do for that? You simply assist them. So, more devotees means more offerings to Radha and Krishna, right? So let's bring some more of these conditioned souls back to the service of Radha and Krishna.
That's right.
Okay? So without further ado, I'll read the offerings written by myself on behalf of Iskcon Atlanta. This book will be out here too, so if anyone wants to have a look. We have a copy for Prabhupada on the Vyasa, so please don't take that one. But this one here, for those who want to look through it. So it begins with pranams of Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivasesha Sunyavani Asya Yameshatarane. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances unto your lotus feet on this 123rd anniversary of your divine appearance in Calcutta, West Bengal, India. It is clear that your appearance is divine. You are not a conditioned soul who took birth due to his karmic reactions. Rather, you appeared out of your causeless mercy to save the conditioned souls of Kali Yuga by expanding the divine mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 533 years ago for two primary reasons. One was to give special mercy by making pure love of Godhead easily available, even to those unqualified to receive it. And the other was to taste the nectar of devotion to himself, Lord Krishna. It is this second reason that our previous acharyas considered the primary reason for the Lord's descent. And it is through this nectar devotion that the holy name of Krishna is spreading all over the world. You are the current Nitya Siddha, a specially empowered soul who came and made this nectar available in every town and village of the world by your example and through your instructions. The nectar of Harinam Sankirtan that you launched continues to expand worldwide. It has even reached China, one of the countries devotees did not visit while you were still present. You desired the preaching to open up there. You even blessed devotees to do that work in the future. This is your mercy, that you saved some preaching nectar for your grand disciples. In conversations with your disciples about why it took so long for a pure devotee to come to the West, you stated that Srila Bhakti could have single-handedly completed the work. But out of his kindness, he left some preaching nectar for you. You have also left some for us. At the time of your divine appearance in 1977, at the time of your divine disappearance in 1977, you had opened 108 temples worldwide, a task that took you only 11 years to complete. Even non-devotees consider this an extraordinary achievement. And just 42 years later, after your departure, we now have approximately 650 temples worldwide. Of course, we understand that the nectar of Sankirtan is spreading because your followers keep your instructions close to their hearts. They are teaching others to follow and practice Sankirtan as you have given it to us. They are cooperating with your management body, the GBC, because you stated this will please you. The secret to success in Sankirtan is to adhere to the principles and mood you exemplified as Iskcon's founder Acharya. As a result of following this work ethic, your Iskcon society is expanding worldwide. And those who participate in it are tasting the ever-expanding nectar of Lord Chaitanya himself. That was Lord Chaitanya himself wanted to taste. Lord Chaitanya stated in Shikshastikam, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glories to the Sankirtan movement. Glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Chaito Dapana Marjanam. It cleanses the heart of all unwanted things. And Patipadam Punamrita Swadanam. It enables us to taste at every step the nectar for which we're always anxious. Because you taught the practice of Sankirtan on Lord Chaitanya's mood, as expressed in this verse, the Lord's holy name is being chanted and worshipped all over the world. You showed us how to spread Krishna consciousness by setting an example of fearless preaching and opening new centers. Just depend on Krishna, you said. We are the sons and daughters of the richest person in existence. We don't have to worry. How else could a penniless swami carry off such an impossible task? How else is it that even after your physical departure, your movement is still growing? We have to have faith in your instructions to cooperate with the GBC and with one another. We need to tolerate one another's faults, understanding that they are not impediments to the Sankirtan movement. Lord Krishna says at the end of the Gita that if one surrenders unto him, he will protect us from all sinful reactions. Have no fear. That protection is your watchful eye and your guidance, which you left us in the form of your books, lectures, letters, example, and the Iskcon Society. We at Iskcon Atlanta pray to you on this most sacred day that you continue to forgive us for our shortcomings in serving you, that you give us extra mercy so that we can understand how to live by the principles of devotional service you taught, and that we continue to taste and expand the nectar of Sankirtan. Your servants at Iskcon Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Srila Prabhupada.We. So let's try to do this by seniority. Is Charnation still with her? I have a bunch of I see a few.
I have my offering. There's offerings in the book. Marge is saying she's offering.
You like to read it now, Marge? Let's let Marge read this one. See it again. Oh, good. It's okay.
I would like to read an offering that Srila Prabhupada wrote on the occasion of the Vyasa Puja of his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It's a remarkable poetry, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur appreciated it very much, especially one particular stanza. So I think I'll just read that one first. This one Prabhupada wrote in 1934, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur left in 1936. So there's a little introduction. Srila Prabhupada wrote the following poem in the February 1935 on the occasion of the Vyasa Puja celebration of his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. It delighted Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur especially the sixth stanza, which he felt captured the essence of his preaching against the Mayavadis. After reading this poem, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was especially keen that Srila Prabhupada preach and write in English. The following version of the poem was prepared from two sources. The version Srila Prabhupada included in the March 1952 edition of his Bhakti.We magazine, and the version he wrote by hand on the back of a letter he sent Rai Ramadas on March 20th, 1969. Srila Prabhupada writes, "Adore, adore y'all the happy day, blessed than heaven, sweeter than May, when he appeared at Puri, the holy place, my Lord and Master, His divine grace. O my Master, the evangelic angel, give us thy light, light up thy candle, struggle for existence, a humble race, the only hope, your divine grace. Misled we are, all going astray, save us, Lord, our fervent pray, wander thy ways, to turn our face, adore thy feet, your divine grace. Forgotten Krishna, we fallen souls, praying most heavy, paying most heavy the illusion's toll, darkness around, all distress, the only hope, your divine grace. Message of service thou hast brought, a meaningful life as Chaitanya wrought, unknown to all, it's full of grace, that is your gift, your divine grace. This is the sixth stanza that has been mentioned. Please listen to this carefully. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast removed. This gives us a life, anew and fresh. Worship thy feet, your divine grace. This stanza is very special because Vaishnava culture, especially at this time or during Prabhupada's time, was actually a struggle against the impersonalism and voidism. They are not atheists. They say that they believe in some supreme power. But according to their understanding, that the goal of life is either void, that is Buddhism, Shunyavad, which is being very prevalent in the West today. Buddhists are becoming very popular. And what is their goal? Become nothing, voidism. And the other is Shankaracharya's impersonalism, Shunyavad and Mayavad. So we can see Prabhupada's prayer also goes like Nirvishesha, Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deshatharani. So Prabhupada's mission actually is to destroy, to wipe out voidism and impersonalism from the West. And that's the point again Prabhupada is making here. About 20 years, 30 years before he came to America. Absolute is sentient. Absolute, sentient means absolute is animate, conscious. Absolute is not inert. God is not inert, God is not void, God is not impersonal, God is a person. So that's what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to establish. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast removed. This gives us life anew and fresh. Worship thy feet, your divine grace. Had you not come, who had told the message of Krishna, forceful and bold, that is your right. You have the miss. Save me, a fallen, your divine grace. The line of service as drawn by you is pleasing and healthy like morning dew. The oldest of all, but in new dress, miracle done is divine grace, your divine grace. Srila Prabhupada.We. So, as Sikhimaiti Prabhu mentioned, that the GBCs write their offerings every year. So I had my offering here, so I'll just read it. I would like to, if you can, remove the curtain now. Sikhimaiti Prabhu,
Yes.
can you remove the curtain now?
Yeah, it's about 30 seconds. 40 seconds.
Okay. So in this 40 seconds, we can chant Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtaka Vishutayine Srila Prabhupada.We. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances at the dust of your divine lotus feet. Today is the day we are compelled to meditate upon your divine grace and assess the inconceivable gift we have received from you. 43 years ago, I found the shelter of your lotus feet that totally transformed my existence. Prior to that, my life was a saga of continuous suffering. Although I tried to enjoy in so many ways, all my attempts ended in endless sufferings. Today, I feel so embarrassed to even think of them. But then I found you, and your mercy inundated my heart with abundant joy. I am eternally indebted to you for all that you have given me, Srila Prabhupada. By your causeless mercy, I came to know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not only a person, but that He is Krishna, whom I consider to be the greatest hero from my childhood. But no one ever told me that He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You taught me that His deity form in the temple is non-different from Him. Although He is not moving, He is the omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient Supreme Lord, who is also present in my heart as a super soul. He sees me from both within and without, and is waiting for me to develop my loving relationship with Him. Although I was born in Bengal and heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from my childhood, no one ever told me that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, I witnessed all kinds of abominable activities being conducted in the name of His teachings. Therefore, I never thought of following Him. You are the one who made me aware that He, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is Krishna Himself, and that He came as a devotee to elevate us to the topmost region of the spiritual sky, Golok, Vrindavan, where we can join Him in His eternal pastimes. Had you not have come to pick me up from the gutter in which I was rotting, how would I ever have received such inconceivable good fortune? Dear Srila Prabhupada, it is through you that the world came to know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not an object of fear, but as our dearmost friend, who is waiting for us to go back to Him in the spiritual world where he sports with his eternal consort, Srimati Radharani. When we re-establish our lost relationship with him by surrendering unto his lotus feet, he allows us to enter that world of endless joy. Dear Srila Prabhupada, you made us realize that Srimati Radharani is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is the pleasure potency of Krishna. Although they are one, they separated themselves to enjoy their transcendental loving affairs. Unfortunate souls who do not want to accept the existence of the spiritual reality beyond their sight mistake this most exalted spiritual relationship to be mundane and find fault in the transcendental couples. Find fault with the transcendental couple. By doing so, they miss the golden opportunity we created for them to enter into the world of endless ecstasy. Dear Srila Prabhupada, one afternoon in Bombay, when I was sitting at your lotus feet, looking at the yet uncompleted Sri Sri Radha Rashbihari temple from the balcony of your quarters, I told you, Srila Prabhupada, although you taught me that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I still feel that I do not know him. However, I know you, and you are my everything. All I want is to be with you, life after life. Without saying anything, you smiled in a way that conveyed everything to me. I offered obeisances to you with a voice ringing within me in complete gratitude. Srila Prabhupada, although I am totally unqualified, please let me stay at your lotus feet forever, engaging my entire existence in your service. Desiring to remain at your lotus feet forever as your humble servant, Bhakti.We.
Prabhupada, one devotee called the incarnation of book distribution, so I'd like to have every incarnation also. Charvation is the first one. So now it doesn't sound so phenomenal, but back then to do 200 big books one day was super phenomenal. So he kind of broke that ceiling and everyone felt inspired. Yes, I can do that also for Prabhupada. So with grace, Charvation Bhakti.
Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Satuarday. Today, we're all very fortunate to be here to celebrate this wonderful occasion. And it is a wonderful occasion. Prabhupada's 123rd Appearance Day. That appearance, influenced by his mother and father and his guru, he was inspired to use his appearance for one thing. And that one thing was to produce love of Krishna. Now think about that. Prabhupada dedicated his life to producing love of Krishna. So how did he do that? What did he do to produce love of Krishna? He traveled around this planet 14 times. He established 108 temples. And he initiated thousands of devotees. And it's in those devotees that he placed the responsibility for continuing his work of producing love for Krishna. So what is love for Krishna? Before Prabhupada came to America, there was no love for Krishna. So factually speaking, there was no love, because love without Krishna is not love. That's what the Vedas teach us. So to express our love for Krishna, we exchange love amongst devotees. And that is what inspires us. Yesterday was so wonderful because of the exchange of love that took place. It was miraculous. And today, we have that same opportunity. So the best way to exchange that love is through dancing and chanting and taking prasadam. So those things are things that we should relish as devotees. And we should understand that in our interaction and in the loving exchanges between devotees, Krishna appears. We attract Krishna when we have loving exchanges amongst devotees. So we got to take that very, very seriously. It's very important. Don't take it for granted. So when we exchange our love, do it seriously with a true understanding of its true meaning, because it's very important. Because that's what will help us continue this journey. We have a lot of responsibility. We do. And sometimes we don't take it as serious as we need to. But we have a lot of responsibility. We do. And by taking it serious, we can help Srila Prabhupada achieve his mission, which is producing love of Krishna. Haribol.
So in Atlanta also we have other famous Prabhupada disciples. So we're going to have His Grace Prabhu come up. As we know, he was temple president here for almost 17 years. He was born in Atlanta. Grady baby. I'm a Grady baby. That's really cool. That's famous if you're a Grady baby. And he joined in Atlanta. And one of the few devotees, and then he didn't go to any other temple. He's only been serving Atlanta. Of course, he's helping Philadelphia, but really he's a mental devotee. He hasn't left. So that's a very rare quality to be so, shows attachment and love for the temple here and the deities. And also he was with Charter Nation doing all this distribution, and as we know now, as Harinam, so many things. He's very well known and famous. So let's give Prabhupada a nice Pariyati welcome. Hari Hari Bol.
He's from Iskcon.
Vishnu Krishna Krishnaya Gutale, Srimati Bhakti Swami Gityananane. Namaste Satuarday, Gaurvani Pacharani, Avisheck.Everyone, Paschattadestam. I'm sure some of you are not aware that His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada visited this temple in 1975. We're very fortunate to have His Grace Shutakirti Prabhu here. He was the secretary for Srila Prabhupada when he came here in 1975. And by his coming here to Atlanta, he placed a big responsibility, a big blessing on this community. Just like in India, I remember going there many times on Parikram with His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. And he would point to one place, which was maybe a few bricks, maybe a small part of a wall. And it would be hundreds of devotees, and he would say, such and such Acharya was here. It was just a little piece of a wall. What we have here in Atlanta is actually, you look over here, you see this beautiful Vyasa sign. His Divine Grace sat there in 1975. He gave his lectures there. And another very unique thing is that he performed Vyasa Puja to his spiritual master in 1975 here. That beautiful painting behind Srila Prabhupada. He personally offered arti to that picture. And just like we did this morning, we'll do this evening, we did a nice Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada. When he came here in 1975, we also did Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada. So this place is very special, very blessed, very special. So we should take it as our personal duty, as Sikhi was explaining in his offering on behalf of the community, that we should make this place very, very successful in spreading Krishna consciousness. So I just wanted to share just a very short offering I wrote. And Sikhi explained in the beginning that the devotees are offering their heartfelt appreciation to Srila Prabhupada and also offering their commitment. Srila Prabhupada said once in another gathering of his godbrothers for Srila Bhakti, he said, Vyasa Puja is not simply an offering of fruits and flowers. We come together, we throw some flowers, we offer some fruit, we make a nice cake. It's not, he said, that's not the full understanding of Vyasa Puja. It's a recommitment of our dedication to our spiritual master, and in this case, to the founder Acharya of Iskcon. We have a big responsibility as tradition Vedanta. My dear Srila Prabhupada, my master and eternal guide, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to your divine lotus feet. On this auspicious day of your appearance, Vyasa Puja, I fall at your feet begging for just one thing. I humbly pray that you bless me with renewed enthusiasm for spreading the glories of the Lord's holy names and to share with as many souls as possible your divine teachings in the form of your books. I simply want to follow in your footsteps by going out into the general public and chanting the Lord's holy names. This is my primary goal in life, and I'm absolutely confident that if I can spend the balance of my life engaged in this supremely auspicious activity, that you will be pleased with this most fallen disciple. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving me shelter at your lotus feet, and by your mercy and blessings, I offer myself as your servant in the great mission of spreading the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of his divine holy names. Your servant, Bhakti Das. Srila Prabhupada.We.
So we'll have, say this, I keep forgetting his name. I was in Chicago, I wasn't in Atlanta, so I know the devotees, but I don't speak the word. You see all this beautiful woodwork in the temple room, and that nice guest house. He rebuilt the guest house. And he just brought today a nice offering for Tulsi Devi, this new Tulsi stand. So.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Sri Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, for leading me to meet Srila Prabhupada. I arrived here like 1 week before Srila Prabhupada, and devotees convinced me to stay, so I've been here ever since. Seems like. But Prabhupada has just given us so much. In his books, I think that's probably the biggest influence we have in the Srila Prabhupada. We just read the books and try to live good life. We'll go back together. So I just want to thank Srila and devotees here, both Bhakti, all the other devotees for putting up with me these years. Thank you.
So we'd like to call up Prabhupada. As we know, another disciple of Prabhupada, been in the land so many years, and if you look at some of the old videos, you'll see him doing fire jagas, everything. And a lot of this outside work that's been involved in the temple here is Prabhupada's work. His Grace Prabhupada.We. Currently, he's trying to help Murari Seva from Tennessee, so he's spending the weekends up there to keep the deity worship going and the Seva for our Prabhupada's farm in Tennessee.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharni Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshapani. I take this opportunity to bow down your Lord's feet, Srila Prabhupada, and offer my obeisances, showing gratitude, my respect. I dedicate myself to your service. I beg for your mercy so I become a proper disciple. That's my daily prayer. I'm an insignificant, if there was an insignificant devotee, if you're looking at this insignificant devotee, I was blessed somehow or other to be here in 1975 when Srila Prabhupada visited. It changed the course of my life. I never left. I struggled to try to do something useful for Srila Prabhupada ever since. Murari Sevak, since he brought it up. Murari Sevak now is an example of how bad things can get if you lose sight of Srila Prabhupada and get off track. And we want to stay on track, following Srila Prabhupada's teachings, staying close with the Association of Devotees, always submitting ourselves for accountability to the Association of Devotees. The Association of Devotees is a multi-layered, multi-level, wonderful opportunity to transform the human life. There's a lot of nectar, but there's also accountability. And so if you stay close to Srila Prabhupada's followers, I became a devotee by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada's followers. Like Bakula, I started coming to the temple just a couple of weeks before Srila Prabhupada arrived to help fix things up. And it was just simply by the mercy of the devotees that I was just an ordinary person from Georgia. And after 2 weeks, I was chanting 16 rounds on beads, and I had the good fortune of being here when Srila Prabhupada came, and not going anywhere. Hare Krishna.
There's Prabhupada.We. Mahaprasad from Prabhupada.We. Actually, in the old days, it was like that people would fight for the garlands. So it became Mahaprasad, Maha, the more you pass it around, the more potency. So we're going to hear offerings from Gopal Krishna and Jayapataka Maharaj. So I'm going to have, so if you have any ladies speak, Radha Priya read Jayapataka Maharaj's offering. I need one Gopal Krishna Maharaj disciple to read his offering. Who wants to read it? Preferably one of the ladies. Pick somebody up. Who? Shuri? Okay, she's next. You read Jayapataka's offering.
My dear spiritual father, Srila Bhakti.We, Swami, Srila Prabhupada, please accept my respectful obeisances. Namo Vishnu-padaya, Krishna-prasthaya, Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Swami Itiname, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Vishayane, Nindi Shesha Srimati Bhakti. On your Vyasa Puja, I'd like to offer my humble homage. You have blessed me with your divine association and picked me up from the pool of material conditioned life, the ocean of birth and death. You have given me the holy Dham of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many other countless blessings too. You have given me many instructions to fulfill for realizing your mercy on the world. You could have stayed in Vrindavan and gotten your spiritual emancipation, but you accepted great risk and austerity to carry out the order of your spiritual master to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western world. I was blind, thinking that serving my senses was the goal of life. You showed me how serving Sri Sri Radha Madhava, Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the actual purpose of life, and that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is my only shelter. In this way, you gave real meaning to my life and enabled me to taste real happiness for the first time. Over the last 12 years, I've had many health challenges. I was trying to carry out your instructions despite these challenges, but in early 2018, the doctors told me that unless I had a liver and kidney transplant within 3 to 5 months, I would reach a point of no return and will leave my body. So, wanting to try to fulfill some more of your instructions, in the latter part of last year, I got a liver and kidney transplant. And by the time we get Vyasa Puja this year, 1 year will have passed. I would like to see Sri Sri Radha Madhava, the Astasakis, Mayapur Chandra, the Panchatattva, and Prahlad Nrsimhadev established in the new temple of Vedic Planetarium. I would like to see the Vedic Planetarium up and running. Also, you instructed me to develop the Navadvip Mandala Parikram in Gora Mandala Bhumi and facilitate the unification in some form or other of the Saraswati cyclic succession. You also wanted me to expand the outreach of Krishna consciousness unlimitedly by establishing and expanding the congregational preaching in Iskcon while seeing to the mass distribution of your transcendental literatures. You wanted me to guide and care for disciples you have sent me so that they can be useful in spreading your message and achieve success in their lives. You said that I shall stay in Mayapur and work through my assistance, and later you said that I should also travel around the world, since that is the duty of all sannyasis. But now my traveling days are challenged, and there were many other things you instructed me to do. You once said to me, I have given you the spiritual world, so now you develop it. When we just had 5 devotees in Mayapur, you said that eventually we would have a city of 50,000 devotees. Right now we have over 5,000, so gradually your prediction is taking shape. I have written several memories, but the more I write, the more I remember. Also, I'm trying to write the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. They are recounted in various books. Of course, there's no limit to his pastimes, but at least I want to give some more extended experience of how wonderful Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and their associates are. You have given yourself to all of us and given a Vani of Lord Chaitanya. I appreciate how you have engaged me in his service, and thus kept me away from the clutches of the illusionary energy. So, on this sacred day, commemorating your appearance, known as Nanda Mahotsava, the day after Janmashtami, I beg for you, for your continued mercy, and glorify you for the unlimited mercy you have showered upon us all. All glories to your divine grace, your significant disciple, Vyasa Swami.
Well, now hear the offering from Gopal Krishna Maharaj.
The offering from Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, my dear dearest Guru, dear Srila Prabhupada, I wish to offer my fond obeisance at your lotus feet 1,000 times. You are a bona fide representative of Srila Vyasa and hence entitled to receive Vyasa Puja every year. Being a pure devotee of Krishna, your desire is to make everyone Krishna conscious. That is why you emphasize the importance of reading and distributing your books. Your books have changed the lives of millions around the planet. 2 days ago, I met a young Indian man in Kurukshetra. This man owns a shop that repairs almiras. He recounted how a year ago someone gave him an almira for repair. When he opened it, he found 3 of your books. He started reading them and was moved by your presentation. He eventually came in touch with devotees and he is now a good devotee. He, his wife and his parents are all chanting 16 rounds. Srila Prabhupada, you are continuing to preach through your books. On February 26, 2019, Prime Minister Modi visited the Delhi temple for unveiling the astounding Bhagavad Gita. This astounding Gita was designed and produced under Madhu Sevita Prabhu supervision. In Italy, this Gita is the largest religious book ever published. It has 670 pages, weighs 800 kilograms, and stands 2.8 meters high. A year ago, Krishna gave me the opportunity to get involved in this project. The Honorable Prime Minister garlanded your murti on the stage. In his speech, he spoke highly of the Bhagavad Gita and your contribution to spreading Lord Krishna message. The Prime Minister said, all of you associated with Iskcon have dedicated full energy and creativity to develop this Gita. This Gita is a symbol of devotion and dedication of the followers of Lord Shri Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. The Prime Minister stated that the Bhagavad Gita is India's most inspiring gift to the whole world. It is the wealth of the whole world. He further stated that you had completely dedicated your life to preaching the Gita, facing all kinds of challenges with an indomitable will. You started Iskcon in order to present Lord Krishna's message to the world. The Prime Minister performed arti to the astounding Bhagavad Gita. He was very impressed to see the display of your Bhagavad Gita as it is in 44 different languages. All the major news channels in India broadcast this event live at Prime Minister, allowing millions of people to witness this historic event. The media reported to our communication director, Yudhishthira Govinda Das, that the event was outstanding media success. Millions had your darshan on the television and saw the astounding Bhagavad Gita. Many senior Iskcon devotees were present for this auspicious occasion. With the passage of each day, I have become more and more convinced that your movement is the only hope for humanity, just as Lord Chaitanya converted tigers, snakes, and deer into devotees. You have convinced millions of animal-like human beings to take the path of your devotional service. I pray for your causeless mercy so that I can follow your instructions and inspire book production and distribution. You also wanted us to build temples to spread the Lord's message. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you called these temples spiritual hospitals. I pray that with your blessing, I may be able to complete the projects we have started. Your fallen servant, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj.
We have the offering from our brother.
Hare Krishna. I would like to thank Sikhimaiti Prabhu for giving me the opportunity to lead my Guru Maharaj's offering to our Param Guru Srila Prabhupada, my most humble obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. By the way, Sikhimaiti Prabhu also lent me his glasses. Thank you so much. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my heartfelt obeisances. This year, we are grateful to present to you a very special offering. For the first time since 1930, devotees have been entrusted with the full care of the rooftop terrace of number 1 Uttadanga Junction Road in Calcutta. The divine pastimes that took place here in 1922 is our very life and soul. It was here that he first met your eternal Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. At the commencement of that first meeting, a seed was planted in your heart. Your Guru Maharaj instructed you to spread the love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout the world in the English language. The seed of this instruction germinated in your heart for 43 years. Then in 1965, it sprouted as you left India on a cargo ship, the MV Jalavita. You told us that when you arrived in New York City, you had nothing except a crate of your translations of the Srimad Bhagavatam and this instruction of your Guru Maharaj. Soon, that seed grew into a glorious desire tree with hundreds of branches around the world and millions of flowers in the form of your loving devotees. These flowers have distributed hundreds of millions of the same seeds in the form of your books, Harinam Sankirtan, Prasadam distribution, and numerous other outreach activities. In 1922, the house on Uttadanga was called Bhakti Vinod Asana. It was the place where your Guru Maharaj began the outreach of his Gaudiya Math. In March of this year, we acquired this historic but sadly neglected property. Days after, I sat on the rooftop terrace and in my heart's meditation, I could almost see, hear and feel your interactions with your Guru Maharaj, an exchange that would fulfill the prophecy of Lord Chaitanya and would forever change the world. I am praying that devotees from all over the world will come here to have this experience. On many occasions you spoke about this pastime. I was very happy to be defeated by my Guru Maharaj. At that moment, I accepted Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as my eternal master. I took this order of my Guru Maharaj as my life and soul. My only qualification is that I have tried to carry out the instruction of my Guru Maharaj. In 1973 in Los Angeles, on the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, you spoke about this event. The words you spoke at that time have awakened in me a profound appreciation for all my God brothers and God sisters, especially for your beloved Gunagrahi Goswami Maharaj, who recently departed in Vrindavan. You revealed your heart to your followers. What he desired, I am trying a little bit, and you are all helping me. So I have to thank you more. You are actually representative of my Guru Maharaj. Why? Because you are helping me to execute the order of my Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much. We are hopeful that in 2022, on the 100th anniversary of the historic first meeting with your Guru Maharaj in Calcutta, the temple of the Vedic planetarium in Sri Mayapur Dham will be inaugurated. It will be an offering of love and gratitude to you by the whole worldwide community of devotees, with special thanks to Amrish Prabhu. Dear Srila Prabhupada, the oceans you crossed to give us Krishna consciousness are like insignificant puddles compared to the limitless oceans of your love for Radha Govinda Dev and your compassion upon all living beings. I pray that it is forever remembered and that the only qualification of your followers for all generations is the deep appreciation for you and your shoreless ocean of compassion. Helplessly pray for your mercy, a servant of your servants, Radha Swami. Thank you so much.
His Holiness Radha Swami ki. So at this time, we will hear from His Grace Shruti Kirti Prabhu. As we mentioned before, Srila Prabhupada did his Iskcon mission, and within 11 years, he had many servants. It wasn't a very easy task to serve the pure devotee, especially one who was working in the manner which Prabhupada was. But of all those servants, I think he served the longest, about 3 years. 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's no day off, no vacation, no, like your job, nothing like that. And of course, he's serving out of love. So when there's love, like the mother's love for the child, does she take vacation? No. Does she want a vacation? No. Is it a very difficult service? Yes. But it gives her such great joy. So in this way, Shruti Kirti was serving Srila Prabhupada as his faithful disciple. So we're going to bring Shruti Kirti up here to the asana. And we'd like to also shift the temple room a little bit because the focus has been here. So all these devotees over here, could you please move?
Say Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti.We, srila Prabhupada.We. Iskcon BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada.We. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. It's very nice to see so many devotees here today for Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja evening celebration.
Quick note also, if anyone would like, we like to have people fanning Srila Prabhupada. So we have a Chama and a peacock fan here. So on this Vyasa Puja, we can honor him that way while we hear Shruti Kirti Prabhu speak. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
They get special mercy today by fanning Srila Prabhupada because Vyasa Puja. Everything is, you get 100 times more, yes, 100 times more in these festival days. That's why we take part. It gives an extra incentive. A few things. One is garlands. I see everybody, it's very hard sometimes to accept garlands from the deities. How do we feel? feel very foolish. What am I doing wearing this garland? I'm wearing this garland because Prabhupada liked us to wear garlands. That's why I'm wearing this garland now, and I'll take it off soon. But whenever we traveled, Prabhupada had garlands. He would come to the airport, 5, 6, 7, 10 garlands sometimes. He never objected. You could put 50 pounds of flowers on Prabhupada, and he would just sit there and he'd put them on, and he accepted. So when the plane was getting ready to land, we would go in the overhead bin. There wasn't much over there, garlands in his white bag. That's our carry-on luggage. So I'd bring the garlands down, and he'd pick his garland, what he wanted to wear, the most fragrant. If it was, what are the white ones here? The gardenias. Gardenias, very, very nice. Roses, gardenias. So then he would grab that, and then he would say, now everybody put on a garland. So he would have us come into the airport looking like first-class Vaishnavas. That's what he liked. He liked that everybody would see a Vaishnava. When I was a brahmachari, and this is in April 1973, it's when Prabhupada was going to Zurich, Switzerland. April 1973. It just happened coincidentally, that's when the gold market went free. So Shyama Sundar had arranged to be there for that event. Anyway, before going there, we were at the manor. And it was when they just got in the manor, but hardly anyone was there. It was just a few days he stayed there. But one devotee there was a young devotee, Jai Hari. He's still there by the manor. Jai Hari. He was a brahmachari. He was a Pakistani boy. It was but him and I, we became very close friends, just over a few days. And he gave me a set of clothes. No one ever, 2.5 years, never gave me any. He gave me a set of clothes, but it was not just a set of clothes. It was a dhoti, kurta, and the sash, and it was polished silk. And it was saffron, very nice color saffron, but it was polished silk. It was very fancy looking. But I would never wear it because it just seemed way too opulent for a brahmachari. But in the course of our travels, we wound up eventually in India. Prabhupada was gravitating, always going to India. And at that time, of course, after a few days, I needed a dhoti and kurta because just getting your clothes clean was a major project. Sometimes in India, I would have to wash Prabhupada's clothes. It was the only place in the world where devotees were so busy taking care of themselves that they weren't even volunteering. Do you need any? Can I do anything for Prabhupada? Nice. So one afternoon he called me, and I had this outfit on, dhoti, kurta, sash, chilak. It was after lunch, and he rang the bell. And I came into the room, I offered obeisances. And as soon as I sat up, he just looked at me, and his eyes got real big. And he said, oh, he said, you look like you just came from Vaikuntha. But he was very happy. I was feeling a little embarrassed, but he thought it was very wonderful that I was dressed very nicely, which he said there was one letter he tells one of his lady disciples, Grahasta lady. He says, you have to dress very nice for Krishna, because she was saying it should be austere. You know, he said, no. He said, you have to dress very nicely for Krishna. He said, Krishna doesn't like ugly gopis. This we were taught. We were supposed to see all the ladies as gopis. So gopis have to look very beautiful for Krishna, and this was the training. So even he liked to see all of us. Look at Maharaj; he looks very wonderful, dressed very nicely. We did this for Prabhupada. That whole hippie image thing. He was very much. Prabhupada didn't like us to look like street people. So again, this is why we do this. We do it for Prabhupada. He liked it. He always looked very nice. He said he would get off the plane. I would watch him. Straighten his goodness. Straighten everything. His tilak was on, fresh tilak. He was Vaishnava. When you see him, you think of Krishna. That's all you had to do. So I was thinking about what to discuss this evening. And I've been here a few days, and I thought we've got to go a little deeper. I've been talking too philosophical. I've been giving too much philosophy. We got to go for nectar. Anyone have any nectar you want to hear? I can say things, but I can just like you see these Mataji's, Prabhus are fanning Prabhupada. That was my first public service, as the servant was fanning him in Vrindavan for the month of Kartik, while he gave Nectar of Devotion classes, Bhakti classes in Vrindavan. Again, look what Prabhupada did when he went there in Kartik, 1972. He's speaking Rupa Goswami Samadhi, he's speaking Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to these infant disciples. Where did he start? Where did he start reading? Where did the lecture start in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? You should know this by now. The very beginning, the introduction, the preface. He just started reading. He had Prajumna read. And I was recording. We had a little, not a little, it was like a 10-pound tape recorder, metal tape recorder. So I would record the lectures. And it was Vrindavan, Kartik. 6 o'clock in the evening, the sun's setting. The parrots are coming back into the trees. You hear the parrots, in the trees, and the monkeys. They would just shake the trees, just for the fun of it. They would like to shake, let you know they were there. You know? Everything was this wonderful atmosphere, and Prabhupada speaking. So my first days in Vrindavan, my first days as his servant. And I'm feeling very satisfied being in Vrindavan with Prabhupada. And I was fanning him. If you see that, just like that. And Prabhupada speaking Nectar of Devotion. And I was fanning. I was very proud. And he's speaking. And I don't even see that there's flies. Just Vrindavan. A lot of flies there as well. And they're buzzing around Prabhupada, even landing on them. Chamara fan is specifically so you keep those flies away, and that's what it's for. But I was going like that. And he's speaking Rupa Goswami. And I'm going, get someone up here with some intelligence. And there's like 6 speakers, you know, in Vrindavan, and everything's always turned up as loud as it can go. And it's still that way. Because otherwise you're wasting Krishna's energy. So you might as well blast those speakers and get the most out of the electricity, I guess. So they're always so loud. So Prabhupada's voice reverberated in the courtyard. Intelligent, and I'm like, Statue of Liberty I became. And someone took it out of my hand. This brahmachari ran up from in the crowd. 50 devotees. Big festival in Vrindavan. 50 of us. Maybe 40. And he grabbed it. And this brahmachari was known to be we say eccentric. Right? A little eccentric. He was different, like many devotees. Krishna attracts us. So he got the fan. I went and sat down behind the tape recorder and started moving dials, just so I felt like I still had use. I wasn't totally useless. And I'm playing with the dials, trying to feel, alive. And he had this fan, and he's like 6 foot something too, and he got the fan, and he's going. And of course, the flies, they weren't anywhere. Nothing was around. The birds, everybody left. He's and Prabhupada never stopped speaking. Prabhupada never misses a beat, as we say. Everything he did, it was fluid. It flowed. You didn't see so he never stopped speaking. And this devotee's going, and Prabhupada looks at him and goes, You want to experience 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. Just be in that situation and then have your spiritual master just smash you like a bug. Smash you. And then again, smash you again because you're trying to save yourself still. You're still trying to keep some pride. So then again he just went. And then I know I was gone. It just crushed me. This was after being his servant for 2 weeks. So now I'm just sitting there. And at the end of the lecture, Prabhupada would get up and he would walk to his rooms, Radha Damodar Temple, Prabhupada's rooms. He said at the center of the universe. He said those rooms were the center of the universe, of the spiritual world. He said they were the center of the spiritual world because the Krishna consciousness movement started right there by Srila Rupa Goswami. This is his movement. He said it began there. And of course, Prabhupada took personal instruction. So that was that place. So now we're walking back to his room. And I'm usually like right next to him, but for some reason I realized I was like 10 feet behind him. And I couldn't even go by him. And then Godbrother came up to me and said, Shrita Kirti, you're so fortunate. And I said, yes. I would like to give you some good fortune. Now, of course, I feel very fortunate. You remember chastisements. I don't remember much else, but I remember when he chastised me during there. So that room, Prabhupada's sitting room, the wall is this thick, Radha Damodar Temple. The walls are like 2 feet thick. And the doors were this high. Were two little wooden doors. And they're that high. So going in the room, you have to use your head. So of course I'm always sitting between the two rooms, his sitting room, and on the other side was where he did his translating work, and that was the kitchen where Jamuna cooked for Prabhupada. And I would be on the veranda on the outside. That time was such a unique time. As soon as we got there, I never realized someone was going to cook for Prabhupada other than me. Like, I had been cooking every day since we left New Vrindavan. But now we were in Vrindavan, and Jamuna was there. So she's going to cook. That was one of my major services. It took me a lot of time. So I had nothing to do. I just chanted 64 rounds a day for the month of Kartika. It was the one and only time, but it seemed so easy there at the time. Anyway, Prabhupada would ring his bell, and I'd have to, got to fast. That was the very first lesson, the very first test Prabhupada gave me. The very first day of personal service was in Pittsburgh. So he's in his sitting room. It was a temporary temple. He was in his sitting room, I was in his bedroom, and I'm looking at his suitcase. I'm learning everything. I'm seeing Prabhupada's clothes. Just had a few dhotis, a few kurtas, a chadar. The cooker was in there, inside the suitcase. Now, I'm sure they would stop you every time you flew with that thing in a suitcase, because it looks like a bomb, basically. It's a big metal bomb, So that was in there, and I'm just looking, and I hear the bell ring. So I ran. It was the first time I answered the bell. Ran in the room, I offered obeisance. Prabhupada's sitting behind his desk, very peacefully. And yes? I said, yes, Prabhupada. What do you want? He said, oh, nothing. He said, I just wanted to see how fast you are. So he wanted you to be fast. That's the first thing I learned was, you better be quick. When the bell rings, if he has to ring it a second time, you're a failure. You've already failed, You have to be in before the bell hits the desk. That's the goal. You're going to be that fast. So, anything else? No. I said, should I go now? Because I'm sitting in front of him. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, what my life means anymore. So, should I go? He said, yes, you can go. Somebody wanted to see who was fast. So now in Vrindavan, the bell rang. I was fast. I went in, and of course I forgot the wall was 2 foot thick and not 6 inches thick. So I just slammed my head right into that brick doorway. And Prabhupada went. He says, that's so you learn how to be humble. And it worked. There was only one time. And you know, you saw the Brahma Jyoti, it was a solid wall. So I also saw flashes of light in front of Prabhupada, because many people say they saw Prabhupada so many things, like the sunshine. I saw the sunshine that day, but it hurt. But that was being with Prabhupada. You had to be ready, always ready. Because when he wanted to do something, he was already doing it. I told you, he coined that, just do it. And we should sue Nike for taking that from Prabhupada, because every time someone came in with a project, he would say, just do it. Why are you wasting your time? That's why he said, immediately go. Otherwise you're going to sit and think so many things, so many difficulties, so many problems. Prabhupada, just dive in. I lived my life like that, and so it's a dangerous way to live. But it's exciting. Very exciting. So, yes, just do it. So that was Vrindavan. So then I learned Jamuna. What a wonderful. We all know, we've read her writings now, we hear so much about her, but just such a unique, surrendered soul to Prabhupada. Just wanted to please him. So she would be in there, in that little kitchen, it was very small, sitting on the floor. She had a little coal stove, a bucket stove, she would use coal and cow dung patties to cook Prabhupada's chapatis on the cow dung patty. And again, I didn't know what to do. My service changed very dramatically when we arrived in India. So the first day, I see her cooking. I didn't even go in. There was a screen door, black wood, and the screen was almost black, so you couldn't even see in. One time Monkey saw in, he grabbed her chapati dough from her. Prabhupada would yell, rascals! They were the same then, just more of them now, but they were just as rascal. So now Prabhupada's in there taking prasadam, his lunch. Again, this was my busiest time of the day. I'm making chapatis, running in and out. And I'm just sitting on the balcony, on the veranda, chanting. But I'm really curious. So, after a few minutes, and I see Jamuna sitting on the floor, rolling chapatis, and the little whole body shaking. It's just like watching Mother Yasoda. She just gave what she gave off was just spiritual energy. You just saw this wonderful devotee lady. That's what she was, this wonderful devotee. So I walked up and I opened the door and looked inside. And Prabhupada's over on the right where he would sit. You could see Srila Goswami's Bhajan Kutir from the window there. So he's sitting there and he's sitting on the floor like he always, taking prasadam, just a mat under him, straw mat under him, and usually facing the wall. Although here, he sat against the wall. So his choki's in front of him. And as soon as he sees me, he said, "Did you take prasadam?" I said, "No, Prabhupada." I said, "I'll take after you." He said, he's sitting here, so the doorway's there. He said, "No, come." He said, "Take prasadam." So of course, again, this was the second time. "No, Prabhupada." I said, "I'll take with my godbrothers." I said, after. He said, "Come, take prasadam." This is the Radha Damodar temple in Prabhupada's room. So I had to do it. So I went in. I sat down right beside him, right beside Prabhupada. And within a minute, Jamuna's got the thali, he's got the katuris, she puts a little rice, starts putting a little bit in each katuri. And Prabhupada's eating that. Prabhupada, when he took prasadam, there was nothing else to deal with in general. He took prasadam. one of the things I know, Prabhupada was a lover of Krishna, and Prabhupada loved prasadam. Prabhupada liked to take prasadam. 3 times a day, Prabhupada was taking meals when I was with him. And he would tell me in the evening, make puris, make parathas, sandesh. One day he said puris and chips. He liked prasadam. He relished it. So now I'm just sitting next to him, and I realized that I really had never tasted anything very good before I had eaten what Jamuna was cooking. It was, I mean, it was just so wonderful. And so now I'm eating next to Prabhupada in this center of the spiritual world, Vrindavan. I had no idea. We say, you always say, Shrita Kirti, you're so fortunate. There were like so many levels of fortunate that I never even imagined what was going on, because we were always right in it, right in the center of it. So now I'm sitting next to him. It's the only time it ever happened. 2.5 years, I just sat next to him. We had prasadam. And I'm eating, and so of course she's more. So then finally we were both finished. And Prabhupada looked at me. He said, so? He said, you liked? Yes, Prabhupada, very much. He said, good. He said, now tomorrow you cook for her. But it was an important lesson. Not that you just sit and enjoy the service someone's giving you. He said, now you do the for her. Of course, that didn't happen. Neither would she. It would have been a disservice for me to cook after seeing what she was doing. But she was just so happy doing it. So we had a very sweet relationship, hardly ever talked. But we just knew, we would serve Prabhupada together. We were just Prabhupada's servants. And we relished doing it. It was 3 years later, 2 years later, September of '74, when Prabhupada was very, very ill. We thought he was going to leave. He didn't eat for weeks. He was sitting in his quarters there in Vrindavan, which weren't even finished. His bed was in the sitting room then. And one evening, he rang his bell, and we were all just on the other side, just waiting for him to get better. 24-hour kirtan was going on in the temples. But he rang the bell, and I went in, and he said, I want you to make upma. He said, I'm feeling some appetite. And I immediately said, yes, Prabhupada. I said, Jamuna's right there on the other side. He said, no. He said, I want you to make it. He said, I like your upma. Yes, Prabhupada. And of course, again, you feel very nice. Prabhupada said he liked something you did. That was... Your whole life is a success. Just one little thing. So I went in, and Avisheck, Jamuna, they're all right on the other side of the door waiting. What happened? What Prabhupada said? I said, he said he's feeling some appetite. He wants upma. So immediately, Jamuna, I'll get right on it. That was her service. She knew. She said, you start right away. I said, Jamuna. I said, Prabhupada told me he wants me to make it. He likes my upma. She said, okay, what should I do? That was Jamuna. There was no false ego thinking, I'm the best cook in the whole society, personally trained by Prabhupada. What do you mean you're going to make it? No, the Vaishnavi. Immediately she said, what do you need me to do? Just like Prabhupada said, tomorrow you cook for her. See, she understood devotional service, what it meant, because she saw personally from Prabhupada how he dealt with everyone, how he dealt with me. I brought that, she helped, we did it together. There was nothing in Vrindavan. She had dehydrated peas in a box that she managed to make, at some point. There were no sabjiwalas out front. There was no road, there was a road out front. Chittakara Road, it was called. Chittakara Road. So we made it a little katuri, just on a plate. I brought it into Prabhupada, I put it down, offered obeisances. I walked out of the room. Well, 5 minutes go by, the bell rings. As soon as I come in, of course, I'm looking right at the bowl. Before you do anything, you're looking as you're going down off our base and says, did he eat? Did he eat? That's all that mattered. If he eats, then he's going to get better. But I looked and I could see it didn't look like he ate anything. As soon as I sit up, I want you to know, he said it was first class upma. He said, I tasted, he said, it's very good. He said, but I have no appetite. Now again, he hadn't eaten for a few weeks. I was carrying him to the bathroom. I would have to, under his arms. Because all he was concerned about was that wasn't upset that he didn't eat the upma. No personal concern for what he was feeling. Always what you were feeling. How can I make sure you're happy in your service? This morning I was saying how you never knew you didn't know if he didn't feel well, but there were clues, and the clues were what he would eat. So one day it's a half hour just before massage, so that's when I assemble the cooker, put all the vegetables in there, put the rice in, the dal in, make a chapati dough, set it aside. So before I did any of that, he rang the bell, new Dwarka, offer obeisances. He said, I am not feeling well. He said, I don't want lunch today, no lunch. That was a big, but that's how I knew. Otherwise he wouldn't have said anything. But he told me, don't do lunch. He said, I'm not feeling well. Yes, Prabhupada. I have to admit, it was a relief. Every day that I cooked lunch, I was in anxiety because I never knew how long the massage would be. I tried to know how long it would be. After a year with him, I started just doing it on my own. Because you would massage, then you went to the next spot. Okay, then you went to the next spot. I did that for a year. So I thought, and massage was anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it wasn't a set thing. But I tried to make it something set because I was always worried about the cooker in the other room. For an hour and a half, steaming vegetables, steaming rice, steaming dal. But it couldn't be bad, otherwise Prabhupada had no lunch. So to set the flame was the trick, you know, how hot you put the flame. And then you're traveling all over the world, so everywhere you go it's different. My point is, when he said no lunch, it was a relief. Even though he's not eating, I should be in great anxiety. He doesn't want to eat. But I felt relief because I knew I didn't have to deal with the cooking. So now I'm massaging him. Massage his head. I said one time I did it, massaged his head, and I went to his back. I massaged his back. I did this for 3 days. On the third day, I told you, third day, he gives you 3 chances to figure out you're messed up. You know, your thinking is way off. Because I guess the signals are there, but I'm ignorant to everything. So the third day, I'm massaging his head. As soon as my hands got off his head, massage me until I tell you to stop, not until you tell you to stop. The way he said things was so unique and so funny, not until you tell you to stop. So that was the third. So then I learned, you just massage and massage. So he was that detailed. Everything you did, it was in as long as he wanted. In the evening, it was the same thing. You massage, you could fall asleep on him. And you wake up and keep massaging. And then finally he'd say, okay, take rest. So now this day I'm massaging him. And I have nothing, I don't have to cook. So 15 minutes into the massage, he said, I'll have khichdi. Khichdi was easy. He told me for when he didn't feel good again, but everything was based on Ayurvedic principles. So as soon as he felt something, khichdi. Khichdi is good. If you don't feel khichdi, you can eat khichdi every day of your life. It's balanced. It's good for all the doshas. We know all these things. I'll have khichdi. Now his formula for khichdi for me was 2 parts rice, 1 part dal, salt and turmeric, just a little ghee. That was, you don't feel good khichdi. So I thought, okay, I can handle khichdi. I have 20 minutes from the time I stop massaging until he's ready to eat. So I can handle that. So we go another 15 minutes, I'm rubbing and I'm having to readjust my thinking. I'm very attached. When someone tells me something's going to happen, like I become attached. And if you change it, my whole nervous system just doesn't know how to deal with it. So I'm massaging away and, you know, now I'm adjusted. I'm going to cook khichdi, it's easy. He said, I'm feeling better. He said, you can make full lunch. I said, I haven't even started. That's okay, he said, whenever it's ready, he said, I'll have lunch. Which I didn't believe that either, because you had to be ready. There was a system, and at least there was a system that I accepted. There was this system. Again, I had 20 minutes, so I had to get everything ready, got all the cooked ready. I had to make the chapati dough. Prabhupada's going into the bathroom. He bathes, then he takes his bath. He's got oil all over him, so bath 10 minutes or so. And he comes out, he puts his clothes on, and he sits behind the desk. You have everything out. Maharaj has a very similar tilak set, like Srila Prabhupada had. He's following, and you had perfect ball. I saw your ball of tilak, just like a golf ball. That's what Prabhupada had. It was a perfect circle. He would make it, you know, each day he would shape it. So it was just like that. So you had 20 minutes. So my goal was to still be ready on time, and it pretty much was. And Prabhupada didn't say anything, but he took prasad. But that's what, you had to be ready for anything all the time. And it could change like that. He would say things for emphasis a lot. When we first got to India, so now I had been in India, we arrived October 15th. October 14th we arrived in Delhi. Kartik was October 15th that year to November 13th or whatever. So it was the one time Prabhupada stayed in Vrindavan during Kartik for the entire month. You know, from the time he had left, is that one time he was very eager to do it. I forgot what my point was there in Delhi. Yeah, how he Prabhupada could change so dramatically, so quickly, his things. So we got in India October 15th. Now we're in Bombay, staying at Mr. Kartikeya Mahadevi's house, which was on Ocean Drive, I think, right by the ocean. It was very nice. And I'm trying to. Okay, we'll go somewhere else. I lost what it was he changed so abruptly on us. But
you were saying that Prabhupada would say things for emphasis. You were saying that Prabhupada would say things for emphasis.
Yes. So yes, now 3 months we're in India. By this time I already had jaundice, malaria, and dysentery many times. So after 3 months, I did not like India. I was going to say hated. It's a very strong word. I wanted to be anywhere but India. I had never been sick. No, I mean, I had colds. I went, I was one of those in school. I went through grade school and high school. 12 years of school, I missed 3 days. So that was, I was healthy. I thought I was healthy. So the first time I got, it was malaria. No one even said it was malaria, but it was malaria. And we're staying in Ahmedabad at a late member's house. He brought my first experience with a homeopathic doctor. He came in with his little black case, all these little white sugar pills in them. They all looked exactly the same, But he was going to cure me. And it did. And afterwards I said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I've never been so sick. I was, say things like that to Prabhupada. You knew he was going to say something, educate you. And he looked at me, he said, really? He said, disease is our natural condition. He said to be healthy, he said, it's very unusual. He said disease is our natural condition. But see, when he would say things, you could take it on the most simple level. Disease, we are, we're always getting sick, colds. But it was more than that. This was the disease, that you even think you're sick. See, Prabhupada never said he was sick. He would say, make khichdi. It wasn't like, I don't, we drove him crazy, gave him big headaches and stuff. But the disease is we think we're this body. So to say something very foolish like that, I'm never sick, Prabhupada. You say you're always sick. You think you're your body. That's your sickness. That's your disease. Huh? So after 3 months, I just wanted to go. I couldn't wait to be healthy again. Now we're in... Cut it, he's telling you. Yeah. So now we're there in Bombay, Mr. Mahadev, his house. And Prabhupada brings in Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Gargamuni, Bhavananda, if he was there. All the devotees that were in India. This is 1973, January. And they're doing life membership programs, 1,111 rupees. You got all the books in the future, and a card that lets you stay in any temple around the world for 3 days for 1,111 rupees. It was a steal of a lifetime. But they weren't following up. They were collecting the money, the 1,100 rupees. But they weren't giving out books. They weren't sending the books regularly. Every month they were supposed to send something, send prasadam. So Prabhupada had all these big devotees. And for me, this is all new to me. You know, seeing these meetings with Prabhupada, GBC men, what would be his GBCs and temple presidents. And he's saying, they're complaining. He said, I'm getting letters, they're complaining. You're not fulfilling the duties of the life membership. He said, you have to. He said, if you don't do this right, he said, I'm leaving India. And I'm thinking, we're going to leave. Because I thought Prabhupada what he was saying was true, you know, but he was never going to leave. But he let them know. He said, if you can't get this right, he said, this is a big embarrassment. He said, we have to leave. He said, we can't even stay. He kept saying, we're going to leave. And I'm sitting there thinking, good. When? Just get the tickets. It never happened. He went to India more and more and more. Yeah. All right, I have to stop. It's after 7. Sikhi Mahi people who?
His Grace Shruti Ki
Hare Krishna.
Shruti is here until Wednesday. So if you like, you can come anytime. He's in the guest house. And you can take advantage of his association and ask any question and learn some insight on how to serve Prabhupada, how to be a devotee. We're all reading Bhagavad Gita, so many books. But you get practical example in the person who has practical experience of that. So it's very rare to have this association. There's many devotees in the world, most devotees in the world never see Prabhupada disciple, but they speak of see Shruti Kirti. So Krishna is sending them to you. Don't just like, oh, okay, don't take advantage. So let's back to Charu Swami speak a little, and then we'll have Pushpa.
Hare Krishna is going to a difficult job to continue after this. I hope it will be too much of a disappointment for all of you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swaparantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. How many of you were here this morning? Oh, many of you are not. So So what do I do? Anyway, this morning also we had a long session remembering Srila Prabhupada, and just to give a little background, like Shrutakirti Prabhu was with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was generally healthy and dynamic and moving, spreading Krishna consciousness, traveling all over the world. But I came to Iskcon very late. Prabhupada left in 1977, November, and I actually met Srila Prabhupada in January of 77. But I had the good fortune of getting close to Srila Prabhupada, and that was because Prabhupada gave me the assignment to translate his books into Bengali. That actually gave me the opportunity to be with Srila Prabhupada and kind of access to Srila Prabhupada whenever I needed to. And then Prabhupada wanted me to not only translate but reply his letters into Bengali. One thing with Prabhupada replied every single letter. Whoever wrote to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada would make it a point to reply. So Prabhupada was traveling, and Prabhupada just came back to India, and there was letters in India was piling up. There was a stack of Bengali letters, so Prabhupada gave me those letters to reply. So I replied those letters. Like the way we did that, I used to read the letter out to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada used to tell me how to reply. So I take notes, and then I would draft the letter, then take it to Srila Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada would correct them or approve them, and then I would handwrite in Bengali on Prabhupada's letterhead. And so that is how the letters were being replied. And then when the stack of Bengali letters were completed, Prabhupada gave me a stack of Hindi letters, and he wanted me to reply them. And incidentally, there were a few Gujarati letters also. So Prabhupada asked me whether I knew Gujarati. I said, no, Prabhupada, no. So anyway, those were the things that I didn't have to reply. But Bengali letters and Hindi letters that came, I was replying them. And then Srila Prabhupada made me his secretary for Indian affairs, and that actually made me be with him all the time. And then Prabhupada, soon after Mayapur Gaur Purnima festival, during that festival time, on Gaur Purnima festival day, Srila Prabhupada gave me first initiation and second initiation simultaneously. And Shiki Mahiti Prabhu was telling me today that he also was there in the same initiation ceremony, and he got his second initiation. And anyway, so then a program was arranged for Srila Prabhupada in Bombay, in Cross Maidan. It was a big program. And Prabhupada was preparing to leave, and I kind of took it for granted that I was going to go with Srila Prabhupada. But then Bhavananda Maharaj, who was the co-director of Mayapur at that time, along with Jayapataka Maharaj, Bhavananda Maharaj told me that I should not go with Srila Prabhupada. And he kept on telling that, you see, you have so much to do. The service is actually more important. And service and separation from the spiritual master is even better. And in this way he convinced, and he did so much for me, actually. He was actually very instrumental in taking me to Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, so when he said that, and I was already so much indebted to him, and I had so much to do, so I just kind of accepted, but with an aching heart. I was feeling really bad that I won't be able to go with Srila Prabhupada. But still I accepted it, and then the day before Srila Prabhupada was to leave, Prabhupada asked me, aren't you coming? So I said, no, Srila Prabhupada. Bhavananda Maharaj told me that service in separation is greater than service in union. So Prabhupada said, that may be, but when your spiritual master tells you to come with him, I think you should come with him. I was just waiting for that. I just ran to Bhavananda Maharaj and I told him what Prabhupada said. So he said, well, if Prabhupada wants you to go, then you should go. And then jokingly I told him that, and Prabhupada told me that you should pay for my fare. And of course, the money actually came from my fund. So this actually enabled me to go to Bombay with Srila Prabhupada. And from then onwards, I was practically with Srila Prabhupada all the time. And coming back to the cooking part of it. Okay, before that, let me also tell you another quite a remarkably funny incident. Like Prabhupada arrived, and the car actually went to Srila Prabhupada's old quarters. In Juhu, there were quite a few apartment buildings. And one of the all those apartment buildings were occupied by the devotees. And one of the apartment buildings on top floor, there was Srila Prabhupada's apartment. So the car actually drove to that apartment. And Prabhupada asked, why did you bring me here? He asked Krishna Maharaj, why did you bring me here? And Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, that other apartment, the new apartment of Srila Prabhupada, the new temple building tower, was not ready. Prabhupada said, ready or not ready, I'm just going there. And Krishna Maharaj reasoned with Prabhupada, but it's not complete, you won't be able to stay there. The doors haven't been fixed, we heard, and toilets were not ready. He said, whether the doors are fixed or toilets are ready, not ready, I am going to stay there. And so Srila Prabhupada insisted. So fortunately the lift was working. It was on the 5th floor. So Prabhupada went there. And it was really, that apartment was really like a workshop. Like things were scattered. They tried to clean things up as soon as possible, as much as possible, within such a short time. But how much could they do? The whole place was like a battlefield. And so Srila Prabhupada went there, sat there. And Krishna Maharaj, who was Prabhupada's secretary at the time, he was very intelligent actually. And he's famous for his his intelligence and organizing ability. So he called Giriraj Maharaj. Giriraj Maharaj was the temple president of Bombay at that time. So he asked Giriraj Maharaj, look, we have to take Srila Prabhupada out of here. The way to do it, Prabhupada was going to have the program in Cross Maidan, which is in the heart of Bombay city. From Juhu to drive to Bombay, to Cross Maidan would have taken at least 1 hour. So, and Bombay traffic, anyone who went to Bombay knows how terrible it is, and it was, those days the same. So, and now, where should Prabhupada stay? There was a very wealthy man in Bombay, like Prabhupada sometimes stayed at his place, was Bhogilal Patel. And so we called Krishna Maharaj, Giriraj Maharaj called Bhogilal, and Bhogilal was out of station. So then they decided to call Kartikeya Mahadevi, where he also stayed, with sea-face apartments here. It's a beautiful apartment, right on the beach. And it was those days that was the most exclusive apartments in Bombay. And he was so nice, Kartikeya Mahadevi. He had a 5-bedroom apartment. And he vacated that place, the whole apartment for us. And he moved into another apartment with another relative. And so, arrangement was made for Prabhupada to stay in that house, in that apartment. So Prabhupada moved in there. And Prabhupada stayed for the Cross Maidan program. That was, I think, one of the most remarkable programs that I have seen, at least with Srila Prabhupada. I mean, I don't know how many people came, but it was a huge pandal, and it was jam-packed. Like there were so many people that came to listen to Srila Prabhupada. Must have been about 10,000 people. And so Prabhupada used to go. Prabhupada's health was not very good at that time. Like first, some sannyasis would go and they would start the program giving lectures and things, and then Prabhupada would come. And it was remarkable to see Srila Prabhupada. I used to be with Srila Prabhupada and I used to go with him in the car, take him to the place, and so Prabhupada would come there, and when Prabhupada would sit there, like he was really, really tired. He was hunched and like he was kind of bending down when he was sitting. But when he would start speaking, his body would start to become straight, and finally Prabhupada was sitting at the edge of the seat and shouting like a lion. And I was recalling one incident this afternoon with Shrutikirti Prabhu and others when we were taking prasad. Like, during the question answer session, one person kind of asked a challenging question to Srila Prabhupada. And it was challenging, I mean, his attitude was challenging, but Prabhupada kept on answering the question, answering his question. But then the person actually became quite obnoxious. He was just very, very indecently. He just kept on shouting and asking, telling Srila Prabhupada, refuting Srila Prabhupada. And people there became so upset with him. It is the people in the crowd, those who came to watch the thing, listen to Prabhupada, they actually carried him out of the thing. Another wonderful incident at that time, Prabhupada noticed one Arab gentleman in the crowd. Like you see, many people the pandal was packed, and many people was standing at the edge of the pandal. And Prabhupada noticed that one Arab gentleman was standing there. Like he was fully attired like an Arab, with the white thing and the round, black round ring on his head. And Prabhupada noticed him. And Prabhupada told Bhavananda to bring him onto the stage. And so Prabhupada, that man was brought onto the stage. Prabhupada made him sit next to him and on a chair. Prabhupada had his asana. I was fanning Srila Prabhupada standing behind him, and I could hear the conversation that Prabhupada was going on. That person happened to be the head of police of Kuwait. And he came to Bombay for some treatment. And that was the first evening that he was allowed to go out of the hospital. And he came out of the hospital, he was just walking in that park, and he saw a big crowd there. So out of curiosity, he just came, and he was standing there watching. And Prabhupada just called him. Then Prabhupada noticed that he had a kind of a bit, like the Muslims they have, like he was fiddling around with that, So he asked Prabhupada, what do you do with that? So he said, well, I just like that, I fiddle. Prabhupada said, no, this is meant to count the number of the holy name of the Lord that you are chanting. The prayers that you are chanting to the Lord is meant to be. And Prabhupada pulled out his beads and showed, I also have one. And Prabhupada explained how to chant on that. And Prabhupada told him that it is sacred, therefore it should be kept in a bag so that it doesn't touch any dirty things. So this was a very, very sweet exchange Srila Prabhupada had, and that showed how broad Srila Prabhupada's vision was. Like here is a very prominent Hindu leader, so to say, Hindu spiritual leader. And he invited a Muslim gentleman just to sit next to him. And it was such a wonderful sight. And so Prabhupada stayed in Kartikeya Mahadevi's house for a few days, and then Prabhupada moved back into the temple. By the time the Prabhupada's apartments were completed, and so it was on the fifth floor or sixth floor as we counted, in which way we counted, like top floor of that tower, and it was just three of us with Srila Prabhupada. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Upendra Prabhu, and myself. And hardly anyone was allowed to come. Only when there was some need, Prabhupada would call. And it was, Prabhupada was staying there. To go back to the cooking, so I'm just towing the line. Your line. Those days, Palika was cooking for Srila Prabhupada. She's also another very, very nice devotee. She was a very sweet god sister of ours, American. And those days practically everyone was American in Europe. And Palika used to cook for Srila Prabhupada, and I used to take the plate and serve Srila Prabhupada. And so one day Palika was sick. So another god sister of ours were asked to cook for Srila Prabhupada. So she came, Prabhupada told him what to cook, how to cook. But when I served Srila Prabhupada, I noticed that Prabhupada could hardly eat anything. So I asked Prabhupada, cooking was not all right today. Prabhupada said, no, she doesn't know how to cook. Then I blurted out, Srila Prabhupada, should I cook for you tomorrow? Prabhupada said, yes, you can try. And so the next day, Srila Prabhupada called me and asked me to get a few items. Potatoes, parval, turmeric, red chili, and a can of mustard oil that was used for Srila Prabhupada massage. Like from Bengal, from Calcutta, we are carrying this can of mustard oil, and it was actually made for Prabhupada massage. The cooking was done usually with ghee, but this time Prabhupada wanted me to cook with mustard oil. So he showed me how to cook. Just briefly, I'll give you the recipe. Like the parval were cut into kind of round dices, and about say half-inch wide. And the potatoes are also cut in kind of a similar size. And then Prabhupada told me to put turmeric. And I put a lot of turmeric. Then finally Prabhupada said, okay. Then Prabhupada asked me to put the red chili, quite a lot of red chili, broken into small pieces, taken out the seeds. And then Prabhupada asked me to pour mustard oil. So I poured, and quite a lot I poured. So, and finally I thought maybe Prabhupada was not watching. So I tilted the can back and stopped pouring. Prabhupada was having a massage. Harisori Prabhu was giving the massage. So Prabhupada said, what happened? Why did you stop pouring? Keep pouring. So kept pouring. Then Prabhupada told me that you just cover it, the vegetable should be covered with water just up to the surface, up to where they get covered. And then put it on the fire, put it on the flame, put it on the fire, and the water will evaporate and the white steam will start coming. Don't stir it, just let it sit there. And as it cooks, the white steam will start coming, and then there will be a sound like chut, 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 chut. So then you take the pot out and let it cool down, and then when it cools down, then you scrape it from the bottom. So what actually happens, like the lot of turmeric settles at the bottom, and lot of oil, that kind of fries it, and and then it makes a crust. So when you scrape it from the bottom, they break into crust, and I mix it. So I served it, and I cooked a few other items also, and then when Prabhupada took prasad. So after Prabhupada finished taking prasad, I took the plates, and then I took the bowl of water for Prabhupada to wash his mouth, and wipe his mouth with a napkin. I came and in the kitchen I was cleaning the pots. Then Upendra came running. Upendra actually, after Prabhupada took prasad, for a while he sat on the seat, and then he went to his bed and he lay down for a while. So Upendra came and said, "Hey, what did you cook? Prabhupada wanted me to taste it." And so he took that, and then Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to go with the English letters, and at 3 o'clock, I'd take the dictations. Tamal Krishna Maharaj also came and told me that Prabhupada liked your cooking today. He naturally felt quite puffed up. But the next day I blew it. Like, I cooked, I served, Prabhupada took a bite, and he said, "You don't have any standard. One day you cook nicely, and I praise you, and you're gone." So, anyway, then the day after that I cooked. I was really careful. I was really afraid. I was really nervous. Because I knew if I blew it on that day, then my job will be terminated. So my assignment, I lose. So then I served Srila Prabhupada. And when I saw Srila Prabhupada was eating, I got some confidence. So I asked Srila Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, was it all right cooking today?" Prabhupada said, "Yes, today it was all right." And then I said, "Prabhupada, I was so worried, I was so afraid, and I was so anxious while cooking." Prabhupada said, "That's good. When you're serving your spiritual master, you should be afraid and you should be in anxiety." Going back to the Upama episode, Prabhupada one day wanted me to cook Upama. It was in Rishikesh. So I cooked. Prabhupada takes a bite and tells me, "I asked you to cook Upama, but you cooked salted halwa." And then Prabhupada gave me the recipe. And I tell you, I mean, Prabhupada was an amazing cook. He was an amazing cook. Okay, so again, those who are interested in cooking, you can take the recipe for Upama and try it out. And you will see this is the best Upama anybody can ever cook. One portion of suji, semolina, same amount of ghee, twice the amount of water, and vegetables cut in small pieces. So first you fry the vegetables. First you fry the vegetables. Then you take some urad dal, ginger, and you fry the urad dal and fry the ginger with the hing. Then fry the suji until it becomes golden brown. And when it gets the color of golden brown, then you put the vegetables in it. And by the way, you make the water hot and put 1/2 lemon juice. Lemon juice from 1/2 of lemon. And you pour the water, just stir it, and you will see that it'll be real upama. It's not salted halwa. So anyway, so this is how we had the.
Did you have training before you joined? Did you know how to cook?
Well, you see, when I was in Germany, sometimes I used to cook. But and somehow my friends used to like the cooking. One friend of mine, American from Dayton, University of Dayton, and he went and told other friends, American friends, what a good cook I was. And so then they started asking me, hey, you invited him, but you didn't invite us. So what we did, I was staying with the family. So, I couldn't invite a whole lot of them. So on Saturdays, I used to cook and invite one or two of them. And this is how I used to, on occasion, I used to cook. But that cooking, you can really imagine, there's nothing, nowhere near Vaishnava cooking. And that was a little, but the thing is that I learned to cook from Srila Prabhupada, actually. Prabhupada used to tell me what to cook, how to cook. Okay, another short incident, and I will finish. Prabhupada once taught me how to cook. Okay, which one should I tell you? Okay, maybe I can tell you, just make it short. Just one incident I will just mention. Again, in Rishikesh, one day Prabhupada asked me to cook this particular preparation that he taught me the first time. Was called Bati Chachari. So, it's called Bati Chachari with parwal and potatoes. And I cooked it, and Prabhupada was very upset. He said, I personally taught you and you forgot. So how can you forget when I personally taught you? And for 2 days, Prabhupada, whenever I went near him, he blasted me. So, and I tell you, Prabhupada's blasting was something, so, then on the third day, Prabhupada's voice sounded a little mellow. So I told him, Prabhupada, it's not that I forgot, but I didn't put so much chili. Prabhupada's thing was, I didn't put so much chili in that preparation. I didn't put so much chili because your stomach was not very good. And that's why. Then Prabhupada said, why didn't you tell me? And then Prabhupada told me that by the time we are cooking Bati Chachari, not anymore with mustard oil, but with ghee. Tamal Krishna Maharaj convinced Prabhupada not to cook with mustard oil, but that with ghee he takes that. So anyway, we just served it. Prabhupada told me that, when you, why didn't you tell me? And then Prabhupada said, when you put a lot of ghee, you should put a lot of chili. Because they counteract each other. Ghee is hot, chili is hot, but they counteract each other. So, this is, okay, maybe another brief one. Prabhupada taught me how to make a simple preparation. It was very simple but very tasty. He asked me to get a muli, radish, pumpkin, eggplant, bitter melon, spinach. So I went to the kitchen. There was no spinach, and I was told that month was the Chaturmas, spinach fast. So I went and told Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, this is the Chaturmas for fasting spinach. Prabhupada said, everyone observing Chaturmas? Then Prabhupada, then I had to go to the market. So I came back from the market. Prabhupada asked, so what did you get? I said, Prabhupada, I got the spinach, I got radish, I got pumpkin, I got eggplant, and then I realized I forgot to get the bitter melon. And I thought that, well, I'll honestly admit I lied to Srila Prabhupada. And I just said, bitter melon. Prabhupada said, get them. So there was a person who used to serve, was kind of an assistant in the guest house. His name was Kanhaiya. So I went to Kanhaiya and told him, Kanhaiya, go to the market with the cycle and quickly bring some vitamin. So I was waiting outside at the gate for Kanhaiya to come back. So Kanhaiya comes back with the news. There is no vitamin in the whole market. And at that time I just felt, God, like I really wished that the earth split and let me disappear. And really feeling down and guilty that I lied to my spiritual master. And I was just walking down. You see, we used to go back to the Prabhupada's kitchen from the narrow door on the Parikrama Marg. But I don't know, I didn't take that road. I went into the Gurukul thing, Gurukul side, because I was so dazed, I don't know where I was going to. So I went to the Gurukul side, and it was just adjacent. And there on that veranda, I see one bitter, fresh and green, just as if it has been picked right from the tree, So, and I was thinking Krishna. I was thinking, really, I was praying to Krishna and expressing my gratitude to him. Then I took all the vegetables to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was telling me how to cut them. Because that's the first time he was showing me this preparation. And then finally when I said, Prabhupada, the bitter melon, how should I cut the bitter melon? Prabhupada looks at me and says, bitter melon? And I knew Prabhupada knew everything. So, Srila Prabhupada.We, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.We, Gaur Premanande.
So it is Bhakti.We, Grace Vitiketi Prabhu Ki, Kela Prabhupada.We. So we'll have Pushpanjali now. Maharaj leaders of Pushpanjali, and then the Guru Puja immediately afterwards. And after the Guru Puja, the Artik for the deities will be there, and then we'll have Mahaprasad. So if everyone can stand up.
Shri Vishakhanikanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Ashchatta Deshutarine Esha Pushpanjali Shri Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Ashchatta Deshutarine Esha Pushpanjali Shrimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Ashchatta Deshutarine Esha Pushpanjali Nalalita Loka Pranaya Karunya Praptasya Karuna Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanavinda Vande Guru Shri Charanavinda Vande Guru Shri Charanavinda Vande Guru Shri Charanavinda Rama Prabhu ki Anavita Gita Manitra Mata Manasara Sena Vande Guru Shri Sharana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottar Shato Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti.We Swami Prabhupada.We. Iskcon founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada.We. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottar Shato Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mathura Dham ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti.We ki jai. Tulasi Maharani ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shamabeto Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Bhakti Vigna Vinashan, Sri Nishringa Bhagavan ki. Jai Bhakta Prabha, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki. Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja celebration ki. Srila Prabhupada's Apperance Day celebration ki. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. To thank everyone for coming to our celebration Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja today, especially His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj ki, His Venerable Prabhu ki, disciples of Srila Prabhupada ki. We're going to want to thank some other devotees who helped put this festival together also.
Hare Krishna. So we'd like to really thank Shaktipan Group's family to sponsor the Prabhupada feast for all of us, for all the devotees, for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. And we also thank all the devotees who have actually helped just today for the festival. Thank you very much. And now we'll have darshan, and then we'll have prasad. Thank you.
The darshan, well, because many people are also honoring Janmashtami today, so the curtain is going to stay open till 11 to 12, so people can have their darshan.